Okay, so I just got done seeing Hunting Matthew Nichols, and this movie is very personal to me for a lot of reasons as well. Like mainly because I was born on Vancouver Island. I live on Vancouver Island right now. I'm currently residing in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, which is located on Vancouver Island, and so a lot of ways, like this movie hits close to home and definitely used its atmosphere very well. Now, granted, before I go any further, I'm going to give you a warning. There's going to be some minor spoilers ahead. If you do not want to know about it, I'll give you about 10 seconds to turn the video off right now. One, two, three, four, well, 5 seconds actually. Five. Okay, 5 seconds. Well, I said 10 seconds, but I'll do five. 5 seconds, okay. Final warning, if you don't want to hear any spoilers, shut the video off now. If you have seen the film, or you don't care, then please proceed and just keep on watching. Anyways, it's like, I mean, there's a lot of truth to it, and that's what makes it so scary. Is because, like, there have been quite a few disappearances on this island for a variety of reasons. Many have never been found, unfortunately, which is very sad. And a lot of it's always in worst case scenarios. I mean, there's a lot of reasons behind it because anyone that's lived on the island knows that driving on the island can be very confusing at times, and as well as walking around on the island can be confusing as well, especially on the various trails. Like, it's very easy to get lost and turned around very quickly, and anyone who lives here knows that. I've done fishing trips, hunting trips. I know from personal experience it can be pretty, scary at times because usually we'll leave, markings or something just to indicate where we are, so we don't get lost because it can happen very easily and very quickly too. So, you know, that being said, like, yeah, like there have been, and like Victoria, BC, the Vancouver Island's a hotbed for paranormal activity too, in stories like, in northern part of British Columbia, like the Vancouver Island, like there have been reports, sightings of the Sasquatch or Bigfoot on various parts of the island as well, especially in the Port Hardy area. So, and we've heard a lot of ghost stories, and I think what makes this movie so terrifying is because, for those of you who don't know, like Victoria, BC is the Satanist capital of the world, and I was an outsider living in the Nanaimo at that time, and when I came in here, I knew that something was off, but I didn't really know what it was, and it is there and it is prominent. It's just hard to spot, but trust me, it is there. There's something not right about this place, no doubt. And anyone who lives here can, probably feels the same way. Now, as far as disappearances go, unfortunately, yeah, we are famous to one of the, widespread and well-known disappearances. That being the disappearance of one Michael Dunahee that happened in 1991. A lot of people theorize that he was taken, which I like to believe there was. There's a creepypasta based on it called "The Year Was 1991." I highly recommend checking that one out. You can find it, online. Just look it up. So, that being said, like, okay, there's going to be some minor spoilers about the movie. Let's get into the movie here. So, yes, it starts out like a documentary. In the previews, as you saw, like it looked like a documentary. And that's kind of what I thought was going to be. I had no idea that this is the route it was going to go. So, and as you know, it slowly unveils itself. And like I said, it was great to see Vancouver Island. It was great to see Prince Rupert. I've been up there maybe once, so makes me kind of want to go back all the way up there again. But granted, I live in Victoria, so it's a long drive to go up there. So anyone who lives on the island or visited the island knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, like I said, there have been a lot of really strange stories about this island, and I've had some really strange experiences as well. I mean, I want to be rational when I make this video, but I remember I've heard stories from I've heard stories from credible people in my life said that they have seen the Sasquatch on this island, which was very scary. So, and now, a lot of ways this film hits close to home because her brother in the movie, the lead character, was the same age as me when he disappears, and him and his friend, and it's like. I remember where I was on Halloween night. I was hanging out with my friends. We were, running around doing crazy stuff. Went to a Halloween party. It was one of the best Halloweens I ever had. So it was just like, that was very scary to think, oh my goodness, he's the same age as me. At first I thought maybe it was real, but then as that time went on, I kind of noticed like, yeah, I mean, you could totally tell that it was definitely scripted, but it did get me at first, because I wasn't sure what to make of it at first, I mean, I almost didn't even see it. So anyone who lives on the island knows that there's some truth to it. I'm not saying that these things aren't happening. I'm not saying that there's actual demonic possession out there. I'm just saying that, yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of, stories about this place. There's definitely a lot of lore that connects to the film in general, the one that I went to see, and so as it started to unbuild up and it started to unveil itself, I kind of saw where it was going. But then again, obviously there was the reference and connection to the Blair Witch Project, and many of us teenagers back in the day when I went to see it back in the red hot summer of 1999, like, I personally found the movie to be very scary. I mean, like, I know it didn't scare everybody. I know found footage is not everyone's favorite, is not everyone's cup of tea. Not everyone's going to like it, but I think there's an interest in it, no matter how good or how bad it is. It's always fun to watch these things. I love the VHS movies as well. I like the first Paranormal Activity. The sequels, not so much. You know, and it's amazing, with found footage, because a lot of people think it's real. That's it gets a lot of people. That's what I like about it. And I remember seeing the Blair Witch Project back in the day, and like I said, that movie terrified me. Like, it did. Like, I was legit scared. And I remember we went to camping a week after we went to see it, and then that's when it really started to sink in, the horror of it. And it did remind me of other, Deep in the Woods movies. Reminded me of the Evil Dead films as well. So there's a bit of that in there. All I can say is, like, yes, I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was very fun. It was very scary. It was very interesting, and just like it hit close to home because, hey, I live on Vancouver Island. I know I've heard stories and such. There's a book I recommend. It's called Haunted Victoria. Um, you can find it online. It talks about ghost stories in Victoria, and I've been on a few ghost tours in Victoria, BC around Halloween, and there've been the various sightings and such. So again, like this place is a hotbed for that stuff. So I'm sure this movie is going to attract a lot of tourists, especially the Vancouver Island area. Just a word of warning, it's a little difficult getting up and down. There's one main highway that goes all through the island. There's a lot of nice places for you all to see and visit, so I highly recommend coming down. I'm sure you'll really enjoy it. But overall, this was an enjoyable movie experience. It was great to see my hometown and my home area, Vancouver Island, a place I've lived on most of my life. And all I can say is that I'm going to give it a solid movie. Wasn't perfect. I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10. But if you have seen it, please comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts were on it. Anyone living on Vancouver Island, please comment down below. Let me know what you think as well. If you have any, paranormal or weird stories about the island or things you've experienced, comment down below, because, like I said, I've had my share of experiences too. Like, I remember, like, when camping out in Souk, I remember when I would use a washroom outside of our camper. I remember just, it had this eerie feeling like something was watching me in those woods. And the same thing with Nanaimo when I'd walk through the trails as a kid and a teenager sometimes and visiting there. Those woods just feel eerie. Like, it just feels like there's something there, like something you don't see or something's watching you. That's what I always got whenever time I went to those woods. Like, those are just my experiences. So comment down below. Let me know what your experiences were. Like I said, I don't want to spoil the movie too much. I just think it's definitely you got to see it for yourself. I know I'm all over the place here, but this is just my opinion and my take on it. I'm not very good at doing movie reviews. That's why I don't really do them all that much. But then again, this one's very personal to me for a lot of reasons. So, till then, that's all I got. Take care. I say see the movie if you can. If you can't handle horror, then probably shouldn't see it. But good night. Peace, everybody.